My name is Peter Rojas, and I'm a partner at Betaworks Ventures, and we are a seed venture fund.
Great. And is your investments, your deal flow primarily around voice, or is it a broader scope?
So our primary focus is what we call emerging consumer behaviors and frontier interfaces and technologies. And so voice is actually one of about a half dozen areas of core focus for us.
Great. Are there any organizations involved with this event that you're already engaged with, or are you coming here looking for a deal flow? Are you actively investing? Are you raising your next round?
So a little bit of all of that. Okay. So we are actively investing in the space. We have done probably about a dozen investments in and around voice and audio more broadly. And so what we're looking for is, again, we're primarily consumer focused, but we are looking for startups which are helping define new ways in which we kind of communicate and share and engage with computing.
Okay. And so right now, as far as what you're looking for, is it of interest to you, voice tech and car coming together? Like, talk to me about that intersection of those two things and why Betaworks may be leaning in that direction.
Yeah, it's something that we have been paying a lot of close attention to. I think when we started focusing on voice about 3 years ago, it was in response to the whole rise of the smart speaker, right, in the home. And not that there hadn't been in-car audio interfaces before, but we think that there's been a real sea change in the sophistication and quality of those experiences now. And I think that after what consumers have gotten accustomed to in their living rooms and their kitchens, they are now expecting a similar high quality of experience in the car. And the car poses a really interesting opportunity because, as I'm sure you've been talking about today, it is optimized for a hands-free experience. You literally cannot be doing input via, at least you're not supposed to be, right? I sometimes see people do it, and it's distressing. But also, if you think project into the future and thinking about time that we're spending in either rideshare cars or self-driving cars, the fact that we're going to have the ability to interact and engage in these different ways is going to be really, really important. And so we're thinking about it not just around car versus home, but really once you bring kind of AirPods and things like that into the mix, that people are going to have throughout their day, basically everywhere they go, access to these intelligent voice-enabled assistants, and they're going to want that to enhance their lives in various ways. And some of that's going to be very straightforward, practical stuff, right? Like directions, playing music, the stuff that we see a lot of already. What gets us especially interested in, what we're especially interested in right now is who is figuring out how to build experiences that seem native to voice around social experiences, right? Like sharing and communicating with other people, but also new kinds of entertainment, games, things like that. And so we're just starting to see some of that stuff, and we've gotten pitched a number of companies building games for people while they're driving. Right. Not sure how I feel exactly about that as a hands-free experience, whether that might be a little too distracting for people, but we're starting to see people building, startups building for this, and it's something that we're really excited to invest in because we think there's going to be a huge amount of consumer, there's going to be a big shift in consumer behavior over the next 2 to 5 years here.
Right. So if somebody comes to you, you like to be the first money in? You like to come in with other seed investors? Like, what's the idea? Of course, there's flexibility depending on how great the opportunity is, but what's an ideal scenario for Betaworks?
So we do mainly two kinds of investing. Okay. One is the pre-seed investing, which is it's really early and will often be the only check or the first check, and we're super comfortable with that. And we actually run 3-month programs out of the Betaworks office space in New York. I'm based here, but Betaworks has an office in New York, where we'll have companies come and building around a specific theme. We actually did voice interfaces and voice computing almost 2 years ago now. We had 8 companies come and build around that category at Betaworks. We'll probably do it again, actually, either later this year or early next year, around voice. And again, for those, we'll often be the only check or first check in. For seed investing, what we tend to, if either we lead or if we're not leading, we like to make sure there's a really great syndicate of investors who can help at that very early stage around the table. We're very hands-on as investors. One thing that we do is because we're very product focused and we go very deep into about a half dozen categories, we feel like we have a lot of domain expertise and we can really help the companies think through their challenges around product development, user acquisition, monetization, growth, all that stuff.
Okay. And your focus for a product company in the voice first space, are you more attracted to somebody has 100,000 users, million users, or somebody that's generating significant revenue, $1 million+ in revenue? Like, what's the stronger attraction? Is it user base that's actually using the product, or revenue generation that there's actually financial promise with this company?
For consumer, I'd say it's users. Okay. Especially at pre-seed and seed, don't really care as much about, well, pre-seed, you don't necessarily even have companies that are launched. But at seed, right. I think we'd like to see there's some, real numbers around users. I don't necessarily care about the raw number as much as it is that's a highly engaged audience that's coming back. For stuff that's more enterprise-based, and we do some enterprise, like tools-based investing, again, having real revenue is helpful, but I think if you are building something that is getting used by developers and we can see that it's starting to get adoption, then that's something that we really care about.
Okay. So. And how would people get a hold of you if they're interested in learning more about Betaworks or connecting with you to be one of the other 1,000 pitches that you've already seen?
It's really easy. It's just peter@betaworks.com, and I try to answer every email I get.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining me.
No, thanks for having me on.
It was
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, and thank you for your attention. We'll be right back with another interview. Here comes the Google Pocket Disc.